Both pieces of legislation have an array of obligations, and I won't go into all of them now by any means, but I want to highlight some common themes that each of them have. I'll focus on two areas. First of all, both the GDPR and the NIS directive have notification obligations. For the GDPR, which again is the regulation on data protection, there are notification obligations related to data breaches. So if there is a breach of personal data, the entity is required to notify without undue delay or within 72 hours. For the NIS directive, which is a cybersecurity focused legislation, there's also notification, but that is for security incidents that reach a certain threshold. The second thing I want to cover is something called state of the art. So both pieces of legislation, while they don't tell entities how to secure the data that they hold, they do require them to take appropriate technical and organizational measures to secure that data with regard to state of the art. Both pieces of legislation have notification requirements. The GDPR has requirements for notification in cases of a breach of personal data, and the NIS directive has requirements, notification of security incidents. And the GDPR actually has fines in those cases as well. But the important thing to think about is the purpose of each piece of legislation is not to punish companies, it's not to fine them. It's really to encourage them to up their security game, to think really hard about protecting data, whether it's personal data or data and systems in general. And so for companies that are thinking about the next couple of years and moving forward with these pieces of legislation, it's equally important not to get so hung up on notification. What am I going to have to notify and who and when and how? But what can you do so that you don't have to notify in the first place? Thinking about prevention, how you can secure your systems and keep the breaches from happening at all. So my advice to business leaders is to focus on what they can do to secure their systems and to prevent breaches from happening in the first place.